Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel for OCD Recovery, where today I'm going to talk all about a mistake that I made and so many people made when it comes to bottling up anger. You hear a lot of people talk about why it's so important to get anger out there. And as Albert Ellis said so elegantly, anger is the one human emotion that people do not want to give up. It gives them a sense of power. They don't want to let it go. I really struggled with this. We see it all the time, right? Debates on all topics, from social issues to politics to religion to drug usage to mental health, people yelling at each other, putting each other down. And also, as Albert Ellis said in one of my favorite books, How to Control Your Anger Before It Controls You, a great adjunct to the books on the reading list. Always read those books first. And he said that the best way to get better at the violin, you want to practice. To get better at anger, you want to practice. I do think that anger is something that almost every single person, almost every YouTube video, and the majority of the books I have seen snippets from or clips, people get wrong about anger. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below, and let me know what you think about this. I've made plenty of videos on this topic. So anger is a natural human emotion. No matter how good your acceptance is, unconditional self-life, other acceptance, you're more than likely never going to get to a point to where you don't feel angry. There was a great quote, actually it was the chapter of a book called The Stoic Capitalist, a great book I just read, came out about 3 months ago, that said something along the lines of, you can feel anger, but don't act angry. You can't turn off the anger sensation itself. That's not possible because you can't control the way your body throws you emotions, but you can learn to wear that anger, and as we say, bottle it up and try to approach discussions, disagreements, confrontations, healthy confrontation in a calm, stoic manner while you're feeling those emotions. There's a lot of myths right now, and females, young females, are really poorly influenced by these women. It's not just women, but I'm going to use this for an example, who are like, stand your ground, put your foot down, tell them this, tell them that, and they like have that kind of sass, right? You know, like that little sass. Except that is fucking horrible advice. Not only is it the worst advice for you to live in your own skin and practice anger, it's also separating you from the people that you want to be with, whether you're heterosexual, gay, or whatever. It's separating you from, no, that's not what I want. Those are my values. This is a horrible way to act as a human in society, and it's a disservice to yourself. Now, I did this for a long time. It's not just women. The other example is the lock-in bro men. Yo, doggy, you never need a woman. You know, dude. It's like a fucking single-cell amoeba brain. You can feel the anger, and it doesn't mean you can't be passionate, and it doesn't mean you're never going to slip over into anger, but thinking that you're going to yell and scream and get your way with random strangers on big podcasts is the most delusional thing ever. And we've all done it. I've done it. You've done it. I used to yell at people in YouTube comments and be like, what am I doing? This person could live in fucking Indonesia and I'm never going to hear from them ever again. It was insane. But because it makes you feel in control. It makes you feel powerful. But anger, acting on anger, not the automatic anger response that you feel, but consistently acting in an angry way is one of at least the top 5 worst human traits that we can have. And again, you're not trying to get rid of that anger. Now, where is it stemming from? It's stemming from rigid, unconditional, self-life, other acceptance, typically other and life acceptance. People saying things you don't like. The big ones are easy: money, politics, religion. Those are the ones where people are really screaming at people. And nowadays, especially in my country, America, with politics, you know, we always wonder, it's really funny, you hear us, and I can't really blame anyone because I was the same way. Why aren't we kinder to each other? Because all we do is watch short clippets every day of screenshots of people yelling and screaming at each other in Congress or in the Senate or in business meetings. And, you know, what you say is actually not as important as how you deliver it. When you deliver information in a really bad way, you undercut your message a lot of the times. And the people that are listening to you and they're like, yeah, with the guys like, yeah, dude, I don't need that. Or the girls like, yeah, it's me. It's, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but you're doing yourself, again, a major disservice because you have to live in your skin and they go on with their lives. Like when people get angry on the road, I had terrible road rage. The person might even know I'm angry and I have to live with that for the rest of the day or the day after. It would just boil and boil and boil. Like, I'm fucking motherfucker. I mean, I didn't want to live like that anymore. And it took a while because it was a learned behavior. It's not just the belief systems. again, as Ellis said so elegantly, to get better at anger, practice, 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 flicking people off, screaming at them, yelling at people, being angry. That's going to subconsciously instill it. And by the way, this doesn't mean you cannot put your foot down, ladies and gentlemen. You can. You can stand up for yourself. But remember, it's more than likely best to do it in a firm, assertive way without calling people names, putting them down. This doesn't mean you... I love to talk shit, love to make fun of people, and I watch a lot of comedy. But when I'm having a discussion with someone, doing that in that negative way isn't really going to work in my favor. It does the complete opposite. And again, it trains me to live in that habituated behavioral pattern of putting people down, angry, yelling. So what you do want to do is learn as a skill, building like a muscle, to build that up. Allow the anger to take over you like a nuclear missile going over. And you're not going to get this right off the bat. No chance. If you struggle with anger, as most people do, you're going to mess this up. You're going to lose your temper. If, maybe people are punching holes in the wall, or with the physical altercations. You're not going to go from physical altercations, yelling and screaming at people, putting holes in your wall, to a stoic monk in 2 weeks. It's going to take time. You're going to mess up a lot. Hopefully the people that are in your life have some sort of compassion at this point, because it does take a while to change. It took me about half a decade to work on this. I had really bad anger. I grew up in, the Italian-Irish, Agudon, Bada Bing, Jersey. I thought all these people were really cool. You think yelling at people is cool. Like, nah, dude, she's a fucking idiot. Like, you think it's cool and you sound cool, but you actually sound behaviorally moronic. And it's a terrible skill to have in life. It doesn't work well in the real world. It doesn't work in high-end business settings when you're closing deals. It doesn't work when you're talking to attorneys, accountants, surgeons. You can do that. You can scream and yell, and we know because people will use extreme examples. But there's a great one on YouTube. I'm not saying I would handle it this way. I don't know how I'd handle it. Just type in "man forgives Gary Ridgway," the Green River Killer, the guy who forgives him. He looks like Santa Claus, actually. Unbelievably hard to do. Unfathomably hard to do. Not saying that it's like I'm yelling at someone. I just watched a court scene of one of the family members of the Idaho killings, where she said this speech hating this man. Understandable. I cannot relate to that at all. And I could say it's so easy. It's like how I say I'm going to handle having a child, even though my wife's pregnant. You don't know until you're in the situation. So I could say I wouldn't handle it that way, and I might lose my cool. Probably would, knowing my history with anger. But I would try my best for myself, because, again, when, like, that court hearing, the example goes away, and the man goes to jail for all the 4 murders he did, you need to live in your own skin. And that is not discrediting anything you went through. Also, this is a very hard concept, because when someone's listening to me in a terrible situation like that, in their mind, they're like, you're telling me how to act. You're telling me how to handle this. But that, in my opinion, you're just doing yourself a disservice. So learning to bottle your anger up, not holding that against other people, is a skill as you change your belief systems. Phil at OCDrecovery.com. Let me know what you think. If you want me to cover anger more, I will. Again, the books on the reading list are the most important. But if you look inside this book right here, I've read the majority of these books inside. But that one right there, Control Your Anger, How to Control Your Anger Before It Controls You. Another good one is Stop Destroying Your Relationships, A Better Guide to Enjoyable Dating, Mating, and Relating. Funny play on words there, Mr. Ellis. And that book always sits on my desk when I'm doing coaching calls and I go through exercises. So as always, enjoy the rest of your day.